right-wing coup takes place in Bolivia. I know I've been focusing on this story right much, but I have to be honest, this story really bothers me. It bothers me immensely. This is mass arrests have started. Mass arrests, including of the previous president of Bolivia. At 8:20, the Associated Press reported Bolivian police led by Commander Calderon had arrested 38 members of the plurinational electoral organ, including the former president Maria Eugenia Chope as vice president. Outright fascists. They've been burning the flag of the indigenous community. They've been attacking buildings, setting buildings on fire, attacking loved ones, and attacking lefties that just so happen to be part of the government. Evo Morales' opponent, this is them setting fire to the headquarters. Evo Morales' opponent, Carlos Mesa, is a member of the group Inter-American Dialogue, a Washington, D.C. based think tank headed by a guy who used to work for the National Endowment of Democracy. If you don't know, the NED is one of those organs that allows the CIA to act in ways where it doesn't look like the CIA, essentially dump money into various projects to undermine and destroy various governments. These are fascists burning the electoral headquarters. Here's the thing. The only thing that he did wrong in the overt sense was win. They couldn't beat him in the election itself. Donald Trump is in office, and they saw what Donald Trump did within the standpoint of Venezuela, meaning the opposition crying foul, set stuff on fire, and a lazy press that just goes along with whatever the story the U.S. wants. The U.S. hated Morales. Morales gave this famous speech in the UN listing the U.S. atrocities all across the world and the fingerprints that they've had in all these various governments dealing with coups and whatnot. They hated him. He was a lefty. He got rid of poverty, cut poverty by half. And not just that, I mean, he has done amazing, amazing things. Part of the issue that the right wing hates about him is that he used the oil and was going to nationalize the lithium reserves in order to be used in the best interest of Bolivia. Meaning creating industries and whatnot off of lithium, creating, selling batteries as opposed to just selling the products themselves. Not to mention using the revenue from gas, not oil, from their gas reserves for the people of that country. The right wing hates him because he was effective. Telesur has just put out that Mexico has given asylum to Evo Morales. He is not safe there. They were seeking and looking for him with an illegal warrant that these guys drawn up. At this point, rule of law doesn't exist in Bolivia because the government of Bolivia has been smashed. Law is off the table. At this point, you have right-wing gangs who are afflicting the will of their own. It's unclear who the military is even taking discretion from at this point. And the police force are traitors to their class, paid by the highest bidder. Fortunately, Mexico has given asylum to Bolivia, and Mexico is willing to call this a coup right off the bat. They understood what it was. The Mexican president is a lefty. And just like what has taken place from the standpoint of Bolivia, with a right wing that just doesn't concede, with a right-wing superpower that is perfectly willing to assist them in this notion of not conceding the election results. He knows he could be next. I make the point to you that this is not an individual project. That the things that are taking place are not specific and individual to any particular state. When Hillary Clinton worked to get the lefty from Honduras, out, this guy gets taken out. They try to do the same thing to Chavez. I guess I'm making the point that in the various, even in Bolivia, same thing with Lula, being locked up as opposed to being able to run, and Rousseff being taken out in a soft coup. Ultimately, again, being taken, Bolsonaro eventually winning that election. I'm making the point that this is not an individual thing. These particular countries, these left-wing governments of the countries, when they had the opportunity, tried to create a web. That web would be able to throw off the yoke of imperialist power like the United States that much more effectively, meaning it was within the context of the United States good policy to go after the lefties that were in these various countries that were trying to do such a thing. This is not a project for an individual nation. This is a project of trying to break these lefty governments and create a right-wing, you can call it wave, across South America. Mind you, subservient to the U.S. interests. That's how they were able to take power in the first place. But in this case, the right-wing mob, not a majority, by the way, not a majority in the least. They couldn't win elections. Clearly, they weren't the majority. But that right-wing mob, with the nod, potentially assistance of the United States, and angry that this guy could not be beat in the ballot box, has now taken this opportunity that presented itself to smash any notion of rule of law in Bolivia. At the very least, Morales is safe in Mexico. They've granted asylum. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks all.